Hey, how's it going everybody? So today we're gonna be talking about the patch 10.9 notes for League of Legends. While there are no big reworks in this patch, there's a lot of interesting changes. But before I get into the video, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel to see more content like this. Alright, let's get right into the video. First change is the Bard nerf, in which they increase his W cooldown from 12 to 14 seconds. The movement speed from it is lowered too. His easy cooldown is increased too, and I'm not sure what those changes will do, but they don't nerf any of his core mechanics like roaming and stuff, so that nerf is pretty small, hopefully doesn't do much. Next up is the Cho'Gath E buff, and they buffed it from 22 to 70 damage. Now it does from 20 to 82 damage depending on the spell rank. That change is really small, and it's addressed to make people that play AP Cho'Gath play more tank Cho'Gath instead, because you know that's his design role, obviously. Next up is the Fiddle buff, in which he gets 5 more damage per rank on his E. That's a little change, but very needed since Fiddle isn't the strongest champion in the game, even after his rework. Next up is the Gnar buff, in which they buff his CD reduction and Q by 10% and increase the damage on his E by 30 on all ranks. That changes simply because Gnar is getting overshadowed a bit by bruisers and champions that just wanna scale to late game. It will help him poke them a bit more and, you know, win rounds against bruisers and destroy champions like Vrad even more. So, you know, he gets a chance late game even against him. So that change is pretty good, like, that's a healthy change, he needs that, of course. And that change is basically to make Gnar somehow useful in early game. Next up is the Karthus nerf. He gets 10% less movement speed, which basically means that he'll gank even less, his clear speed is lower. That's obviously an esport change because he's not really that good in solo queue, but you know, in pro play he's just a must pick or ban, of course. Cain gets his cooldown on Q lowered by a second on all ranks. His W now slows by 90% and it decays instead of a 70% slow flat. And the most significant change to him, I mean it's like the most interesting one, is the 40 bonus damage that is dealt to monsters now is dealt to minions too, which basically means that his wave clearing ability will be a bit better, and maybe we'll see more Cains on mid lane and top lane, hopefully. And yeah, that's it for the changes for Cain. Next up is the Lissandra buff on Q. She gets her cooldown decreased on low levels, which doesn't really do much, but yeah, that's a change. Now we get her base HP and base mana nerfed, still not significant, really low numbers. A little early game nerf, which, you know, because so like he's really good with like Cassiopeia and stuff, so that's basically to, you know, nerf it down a bit. Alright, next up is the Q buff for the Queen, and the blind is now 1.75 seconds instead of 1.5 seconds. And this might be big combined with the Sanguine Blade buff, which I will describe later. Trundle gets his ultimate CD lowered by 20 seconds on all ranks, which is pretty big again, combined with the Sanguine Blade change. And Wukong gets another nerf, 3 less armor on every level, 10 less damage on his Q on all ranks, and clone damage reduced by 5% on all ranks. And that's it for champion changes. The only item change is the Sanguine Blade buff, which reduces its price by 100 and increases AD by 5, which might mean that Trundle and Queen, that got buffed too in this patch, might make their way back to the meta, and yeah, that's it for the changes in this patch. Also the FPX skins, which are GP, Malphite, Listen, and Vayne and Fresh, will be out in this patch. And the Volibear rework will come out on the PBE servers when this patch releases. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you guys in the next episode.